Monaco Yacht Show 2025. We're at the lounge at La Rascas, the YATCO lounge, and I just found this amazing gentleman who is willing to do an interview with me. And you'll ask, like, why? He's got a good story, guys. Just stay tuned. But before we do that, would you mind introducing yourself?
Absolutely. So I'm Ben Williams, Director of Yachts at Ropner Insurance, and we're the insurance partner for the YATCO platform. And super excited to be partnered with such an amazing organisation.
He is sweet talking me, guys. He's sweet talking me, and you're doing that really well. And actually, that fits in where I wanted to go, because we obviously had a little pre-chat. And you're 29, and you're the director of Yachting, and now running a team of 6 directly and 16 in total. How long have you been with Ropner?
Yeah, so I find it an interesting story. I know insurance is never the most interesting of topics, but I joined Ropner's as a T-boy when I was around 18, 19 years old, and instantly loved insurance. You know, not necessarily the yacht side, but insurance in general. I liked the broking side. I liked the face-to-face interaction and how business was done. You know, that slowly moved into doing a little bit on smaller yacht business, to which, you know, I then had a little bit of a dabble into the commercial marine world, which I found really interesting and something that I think really adds to our yacht team, because we are able to place those complex risks because they switch over into the commercial world. So all these things, you know, formed where we've got to today. And I think, you know, I moved on to heading up the yacht team. I say heading up, it was just me in the original sense about 6 years ago during the lockdown, and a younger person putting into a role. And one thing I will say to Ropner is they let me have free rein to go about producing business how we wanted to. And it was a lot of travel, a lot of hard work, but we're really seeing the effects of how we've gone about our business. And the last 2 years especially, we're seeing tremendous growth in that, which has allowed us to grow that team significantly.
Well, because it's interesting. You come in 18, 19 years old. I'm comparing it to yachting. You're a decky or an interior. You come in with 18, 19 years old. You come into a business. Did you go to uni?
No.
See?
Wasn't smart enough for uni.
So you didn't go to uni, and you decided, you know what, I'm going to just find out what my talents are. And you obviously have found them. And I think that's, before we get into insurance and everything, I think that's what the interesting part is, because 3 years in, you got your own little division and you build that division out. And I think that's a fascinating story. So what's your drive? What drives you?
You know, one thing, I go back to when I first started, you know, originally in that story, I really enjoyed the hunt for business. So I enjoyed the interaction with clients, you know, finding that solution for them. It wasn't even necessarily about where, I'd never really focused on where we could get to. I had an image in my head of where we'd be happy, and that's constantly moving, because we're not focusing on intrinsic parts for success. I feel that our growth is just, we look heavily at reputation, I guess is the best way of saying it, and where we're focused so heavy on reputation and brand image, business just seems to flow with that. And I'm really enjoying the business side of the industry. And whilst insurance is a mundane element of the yachting industry, it can be vitally important, but also I'm really enjoying finding out how the other businesses within market themselves, they do business, and how we can add that to our operation as well.
Well, you're dealing with people that own vessels, and they're used to making a deal.
Absolutely. I think the closer we get to the end client, it's very rare that we would speak to an owner. You know, the family offices, the owners' reps, and we're really enjoying that pitch to those clients, because we really enjoy that, and they resonate with what we're doing as a business. And actually, many of our clients that we go and see, I like to give our rags to riches story, because I think it resonates with a lot of owners that have worked hard to get to where they need to get to. And I think that, if I go back to an earlier statement that you said, I think that's been our real selling point, where we are a younger team. I think we've flipped that into a strong suit, because people are impressed that we've been able to build what we've in that space of time.
It's the power of young energy, isn't it? It's like a lot of people that own businesses or build businesses highly appreciate young energy, and they recognize themselves in that.
Yeah, I think, and I go back, as you know, as long as it was going well, Ropner let us run how we needed to run it, how to win business. And I think all facets of the yacht industry, flexibility is key, and that where they allowed us to be flexible to find those gaps is what has given us the business that we have today.
Okay. So, because like, if you would look at like just a quick sidestep to Ropner, and we'll get back to you personally after that. So, within the industry, let's say the super yacht industry, how big are you guys?
So there's loads of different ways that you can scale that, based on, premium income, based on number of vessels, etc.
Yeah.
You could have a huge array of vessels in smaller value, for example. And where we've grown our book over time, I think we had a lot of small vessels to begin with, and we've seen them grow exponentially. I mean, actually, the one story I always tell people when we pitch them, I think when I took over that team, we had one vessel excess of 30 metres left in that portfolio. And I think, and don't quote me on this, we have excess of 300 yachts on our book 10 years on. So we've grown in a huge way, and that's a variety of vessels, but it just shows the scale of how quickly we've grown in that space. And I often value our book on number of vessels, because the market's always changing from a cost standpoint. So 20 vessels today could be worth a completely different amount of money in 2 years' time, with losses in the market, etc. So it's hard to quantify that, but I would like to say that we position ourselves as a considerable player in that yacht space now.
Because Ropner seems to be quite an interesting organization to give young people like yourself, 18 years old, and then early 20s, to run a division or to take over a division, and you make it grow. So, and you talked about reputation, which is essential in this industry. So what makes Ropner special to you? And I mean, and don't give me the whole
The sub story.
No, you don't need a promotion, you don't need a pay rise. I just want the truth.
So I think for me, what I like about Ropner, for me personally, is I feel massively connected, as if I am an owner of that business, right? I'm not, that company was around many, many years before I was there, but it's got that family feel to it where I think everyone involved feels like they have a part, or they are a part of keeping that reputation in place. And I think that's really difficult to do in a company nowadays. And we try our hardest to keep it that way as well. I think there are pros and cons to big companies against smaller bespoke companies. And I think in the yacht space, you have to keep that bespoke feel to it. So I think that's where the added value is.
Let's talk insurance for a second, right? Because in the end,
we're going to apologise for that.
I'm so sorry, but I admit that I, many years ago, used to work in insurance as well. So what are the three main insurances at the moment that are like essential, that you guys feel that like are the key ones?
So I think, from the basic sense, when an owner comes to us, majority of them are looking for hull and machinery or physical damage, third-party liability or protection and indemnity, the same, and obviously your crew medical insurance. So, and that would split across, depending on the size of your yacht, that's 3 different placements for each owner. You can package those up and put it as one price, but 3 different carriers that sit behind all of those.
Yeah. I mean, let's go to crew. Crew medical, big thing.
Absolutely. And I think crew can often get overlooked from its importance. A good crew policy, a wide wording, doesn't just provide the crew with protection in the event of a disaster for the crew, which is vitally important, but also for recruitment of crew, we've actually seen that be important. For if a new crew member's coming on board and they've got, a great crew medical policy, and that they probably get a better feel for the ownership as well. So I think it's an integral part of ensuring the coverage, and the captain is an important part of our placement as well. Ensuring that he's well looked after from a coverage element is equally important just for the rest of the program.
If you're looking at crew medical, what are the 3 key things that you need to look at?
So I would say the 3 elements that we focus on the most is the income protection, so your 3 times salary or increasing to a 5 times salary, and the benefit period on that. They're out of work, how long are they getting paid for whilst they're out of work? Obviously, medical limit and repatriation limit. We're seeing yachts trade in some crazy areas now, and repatriation is extremely expensive. So ensuring that the emergency cover, let's say that's more so, that's vitally important as well. We see as vitally important from a broking standpoint, so we deal with multiple medical carriers. The emergency response element, so it's usually an emergency number within there. That's a separate company usually that runs that. We've seen that become vitally important. The quick emergency response is almost worth much more money. Crew policies is where the claims are. You have a high volume of claim on a crew policy.
Do you?
Absolutely, it's where we see the highest volume of claims, not necessarily by quantum.
Yeah.
We cover a variety, even routine medical coverages. So, we could have $50, $100 invoices on a weekly basis for these crew members. So, and it puts service issues for everyone involved. So it's key to make sure that you've got competent carriers in place and quick response from everybody.
Insurance is a weird topic, right?
Yeah.
You're insuring yourself for something you really don't want that
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah, I think, as I say, we like to, when we sit down with our clients and go through it, we know we come from a mundane part of the industry, right? But something that becomes so vitally important in the event that something does go wrong. And I think we like to try and position ourselves more on the consultancy side rather than calling ourselves a broker or on the insurance side, just because we like to comment on all elements of the risk, right? There's so much that comes up in a year for a client operationally, certain trading areas, or if they go into the shipyard. All of these points have a risk crossover, and consulting on where risk or exposure can be reduced, and maybe, I think what we often try and get clients to do is lean on us. We have a huge amount of statistics on vessels trading in multiple areas. We aren't saying to the owner that you can't go here. We're saying, look, there's a cost associated with this, and this is what we see in those regions. So we actually try to position ourselves more in that legal framework to say, a risk advisor for the client is where we'd like to position ourselves. It's better for us.
Is that where insurance is going, as a risk advisory in the end?
I think in this class of business, yacht business, definitely, we're seeing yachts getting bigger, family offices taking on, that where it might not be their area of expertise, being able to take away some of that exposure from them and consult on that for them, for the client, I think it is a win-win for everybody. That's what we'll continue to push for, and I can imagine, with the success we're having, that everyone will follow suit in that respect.
And do you think that's like this thing that sets you apart?
I believe that provide a similar service, but it's definitely been one of our unique selling points over the past 18 months, yes.
Yeah. Because it's interesting, right? Because insurance used to be, you're selling a box, right? It's like, it's in there, you buy it, and based on your liability pattern or on your age or whatever, you pay a price for that box.
Yeah, I think insurance has always been a high volume area, sort of cookie cutter business, and with yachts you really can't do that, right? Every owner's so individual, every operation is so individual. What I found really interesting is who controls or who's in the owner's ear is always someone different, and it's a different facet of the operation. So, we really cannot standardize how we do insurance in this business, but we've definitely come up with a model that we think resonates with owners, and the majority of larger operations, I believe, we've got a good structure that's working for us.
Cool. So 29 years old, started at Ropner's at 18 or 19, got his own divisions a few years later, built it out. In the meantime, family,
Yeah.
4 months old child, two children, one is 4 months.
I guess that could be the harder than all the work put together, but yeah, 2 kids, 5-year-old and a 4-month-old. Yeah, I'm just trying to shield them from the world of insurance for 15 years before they...
50. Before you know it, they're walking around the yacht show. That's the thing, this
Yes.
world is so child-friendly.
Yes, I hadn't thought of that. I'm going to be showing them a side to life that only one can dream of, I believe.
Well, my son's 21 now, and he's still grateful that I took him down to events like when he's starting 13, 14. And he knows people now. He's like,
I was calling them yesterday, and I explained how nice it's been. I think it's 4 or 5 years we've been coming to the Monaco show, and we're finally at that point where we can walk around the show and everybody says hi, and we've got events like this and you sit there and everyone's connected. I think it's a great industry for that. It's definitely something that I'm happy for them to be involved in. Whether it goes for the insurance route or whether they can immerse themselves more heavily in the industry would be great.
what you want is that they become clients.
Yeah.
That's the dream.
That would be good.
Dad, I
Then
need an insurance for my crew and for my boat.
Then I would have known I've done something right. That would be the way forward.
So dream big.
Yeah, that's what we go for.
That's what we go for. We manifested it. We did. I won't be around in 20 years to ask you, but someone will. And then we'll see.
Hopefully. I hope so.
Thank you, Ben.
No worries. Thank you.
Very nice. Thank you.